Can you hear me, Bridget? Okay, as we wait for Bridget, who can start us off? Tina, do you want to say hi? Oh, Bridget is in a matatu, so sorry. Tina, you can say hi.
Okay, hi. I'm Christine Kimani. Yeah.
More, Christine Kimani. Who are you, apart from just your name? What do we come to you for?
Oh, I'm in technical sales for food and beverage ingredients. And I've been dealing with mostly I just deal with the food and beverage manufacturers for both the commodities and also the specialties, depending on each client's needs, as well as offer technical support. Yes.
Great. Next
Yeah.
person, Mashira, introduce yourself. Momanyi, please don't say hi yet, okay? Mashira, introduce yourself. If you're in a matatu, you can just text us you're in a matatu. Yes?
Hi guys,
Hi.
my name is Donella Machira and I'm a trainer, a food science and technology trainer at Ngong Technical and Vocational College. Thank you.
Thank you, Mashira. It's good to have a trainer with us too. Moses, you're next on my screen. Say hi. It's been a while, by the way. How are you?
Yes, good afternoon, guys.
Yeah. Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are.
Yes, how are you, Catherine?
I'm okay.
Yes, for the guys attending this webinar, my name's Cheriot Moses, and I've been around in this food industry for some time now. I've been working in different industries. I've worked in fresh vegetables, worked in animal feeds. I've worked in coffee industry. I've worked in so I've been around. Right now, I'm in Uganda. So largely I've been doing quality management for quite a long time, though I did also production a bit. But largely I'm doing a consultant on QA matters. So currently I have a project in Uganda. I'm doing QA consultation in varying value chains. So I have different value chains in Uganda. There is avocado, oil extraction. We have also a bit of coffee. There is also fish farming. There is coffee roastery and then coffee shops. I think that is a bit of me. So I'm implementing QA related systems, not necessarily certified companies, but we are implementing TQM based on ISO 9001. And in avocado oil extraction, we are doing ISO 22000. So I'm happy to join you guys. And apparently, I also only joined when I saw the webinar. I haven't seen the topic of the webinar. So Catherine, you'll try to brief us. Thank you so much.
Sure. I'll brief you on what you're discussing today. Boniface and then Kamau. Yes, Boniface. And if you can't talk, you can greet us in the chats, okay? Boniface, are you in a position to say hi? Steven. Yeah, say hi to us in the chat, Boniface. Tell us where you're joining us from. What can we reach out for in this food industry? Christine Mwende, I've seen you say hi. You want to talk? Okay, Stephen, you can go next. Okay. Jim, you can say hi to us. Ama kila mtu ako kwa matatu. Are we all in matatus today? Stephen, you're laughing instead of unmuting your mic and saying hi. Kamau Murishu.
Ni mbaya.
Bridget, unasemaje?
Ni mbaya, tuko kwa matatu. Leo
Yeah, welcome.
tumepatikana.
Leo umepatikana. But imagine you're in a matatu and you still chose to join. Kudos to you guys. That's thirst for knowledge.
Imagine. Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank
Wenye
you guys.
tutaki kuongea na tuzungumze, wanaweza tuangalia sana.
I know.
Mhm.
Oh, it's okay. I'm waiting for like 3 more people to join and then we start. At exactly 7:40. Whether they join or don't join, we are going to go ahead. I know Amos has a lot in store for us. Calvins, do you want to say hi?
Why not?
Nice, I love your voice. Hi, atusalimie.
Good evening, all of us.
Good evening to you.
I'm pleasured to be one of the attendees in this particular meeting. I'm looking forward to gain more from the gentleman, Momanyi. It is actually such platforms is very healthy for fostering food safety and quality in the country at large. So I know this journey has just started and it will spread sooner or later in the rest of the country and even across Africa. Why not? Yeah, so I look forward for great things in this particular forum. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Calvin. Yes, and it's exactly 7:40. We're 10 minutes late, but at least we've said hi to each other. So today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. Who knows what you're talking about today? Since Moses said they don't know what you're talking about. Who knows why we're here today? You can type it in the chat or you can unmute. Who knows why we're here? What are we talking about today? Oh no, nobody knows.
Yeah, I think we are here to discuss food safety culture. How, whether it is something that we basically do on paper and do not actualize, or it is something that we look at both sides, actualization and documentation. So we're here to see how food safety culture is implemented and how it affects the food quality in our respective organizations.
Thank you so much for that, Calvin. So as our webinar title says, today we are talking about rooted in quality, creating manufacturing cultures that last. So we've all learned that food safety, mostly we talk about compliance, you see documentation, but as we practice this daily, we realize that you can have the best systems in the world, you can have the best certifications, but then you will still fail. You can fail yourself, As the manufacturer, you can fail yourself as the quality assurance or quality control officer. You can fail the consumers if your culture is weak. So tonight, we're not going to talk about standards. We're not going to talk about checklists. We are going to talk about you as a person behind that manufacturing plant. How your actions, how your daily decisions affect the end product. And interestingly, if you happened to register in the Google form that we had published, there is a question that was there. How would you describe your organization's current culture? Interestingly, out of the 95 responses we got, 36.5% of us said systems are there, but then culture is still developing, which grounds this webinar even more. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome today's speaker to kindly say hi, introduce themselves, and then I'll leave the floor to him for a short presentation. So, Amos, the floor is yours. And if you have any questions, even as he does the presentation, you can forward it in the chat.
Hi everyone. Hi Kate. I'm very happy to be here today with you guys. I look at the members who have joined. Number of them I know you by faces. I know you by character. I actually know you if you practice the culture that we talk of in places where we work, where we talk, where we discuss. I feel much at home. So in this presentation, probably we are going to discuss the same challenges we discuss when we meet in person, more than what I had prepared for the presentation. My name is Momanyi, Amos. By profession, Amos is a food scientist. I also hold a NEBOSH international diploma in health and safety. I'm a systems trainer, a certified systems trainer as well. I've had years of practice, both in quality departments and in health and safety departments, both in Kenya and West Africa. So yeah, that's me. I want you guys to feel free, let's discuss, let's talk. I know we're in the same page when it comes to this topic. Quality is a headache. So I want us to look at it from a different perspective. Why do we consider quality a headache, yet we enjoy waking up every single day to go and do this particular work? I don't know, Kate, if you're going to share the slides or I have to share them.
Do you have them with you?
I think you, but I think I can share some.
Let me know. If you can't find it, I'll share on your behalf.
They're very far. I thought you were going to share them.
Let me share them. I was armed and ready.
No, but I think I can share them. It's okay.
All right.
I found them somewhere.
Okay.
Okay, just open them. Sorry for that.
No worries.
Yeah.
Just a bit. Can you all see my screen clearly? Great. Can go ahead, Amos.
Yeah, I can see your screen. So yeah, in today's topic, I've seen a number of them, of the responses around people feel like you're talking about food safety culture. We cannot separate food safety culture from quality culture in many ways. And in a number of systems as well, we cannot separate the practice from what is on paper. I would want us to define what a culture is, get to understand what a culture is, and then we move forward. So when you're talking about a culture, in many terms, it's just a collective concept that describes or talks about some virtues that people share, a pattern of doing things, way we do things, or to package it in a better way is to say it's how we do things here. You walk into a certain society, there's a way people do things, there's a way people relate, there's a way people talk, there's a way people move. That is what we call a culture. In a nutshell, it's an invisible notion. It's a part of the mind that guides how we perceive different things, perceive how we think, perceive how we feel about certain facts or certain beliefs. It also guides how we act. It is very important to note that culture, you're not born with it. Culture, you learn it. The moment you come into a certain society is when you learn the culture. The moment you step into a food production industry is when you learn the culture that is there. You shift to another place is when you learn what is there. Culture is shared. That's why we say you learn it. So you can only learn something that is shared to you or something that you've encountered. For me to package it better, I would say culture is the why behind the what. Positively, in a nice way to say it is a positive culture is understanding the why behind the what. You don't just walk into a place and tell people we need to wash hands. You need to tell people why we need to wash hands. You need to make sure that people understand why you give certain rules to a certain place. So a culture is when people basically understand why they're doing things to a point they just do it voluntarily without being pushed. You walk into facilities a lot in the country, you'll just see rules in terms of signages. I know most of the people assume signages are there like reminders or trainings. But to me, I see signages and the first thing I would see is those are the set rules on site. You go to a certain gate and they're saying no entry without safety shoes, no entry without washing hands. That is more of a rule than a reminder of what is supposed to be there. You visit a certain production floor that before you access the production floor, you have to complete some forms, you have to declare your health, you have to declare if you're trained, you have to declare if you have safety, protective equipment, so on. That is more of a side of rule that we see. Audits are done, certifications are always posted on notice boards, but that is what we see. Culture goes in a deeper way of things that we can't see in terms of beliefs. Do people believe in washing hands? Do people believe in those procedures that we have in place? Do people believe in the system? Culture is way much more of a day-to-day activity that people do voluntarily. If you walk to a number of organizations in the country, it's so sad that what we have on papers is not what people are having on site. A person will pass by a sink written that you need to wash your hands before proceeding to a certain place. Then sadly enough, they'll still pass. Or you get a sink that directs you to wash hands before you access, let's say, a production floor. But the moment you reach out to the soap dispenser, you're missing soap. That tells you there's a lot about the culture of what is supposed to be done against what is on paper. If you can move to the next slide, Kate, I would want to mention, or I would want us to understand why most of the cultures fail, or why culture fail in most of the organization. It's the second one, Kate.
Is it okay?
Yeah. So for us to understand why culture fail in most of the organization, it's because of the simple things that we do. Like I said, I look at the most people who have attended this meeting. These are the people I know, these are people I've met. And I know most of you are leaders when it comes to the qualities and food safety practices that we have in our organization. I would want us to understand that culture fails because of us. Us as the quality champions, us as the food safety champions, we are the first people to make sure that culture fails. You walk into a place and you get, let's say, a production manager. This is a person who's supposed to ensure that no shortcuts are taken when you're forcing or when you're chasing production targets. But then sadly enough, these are the first people who are pushing the workers to go beyond what is required, to bypass safety or quality protocols that are there. So most of the cultures fail because of such pressures. The production pressure, you want to, maybe you've delayed in one batch and you want to achieve that batch in the next like 1 hour. So you get that quality protocols like maybe inspection before machine runs is bypassed. People don't want to wash hands because of the time constraints. Somebody does not even have a protective equipment in production because of same reasons. This is why you get most of the culture fails. So if you do it once, you do it twice, you do it thrice, it becomes an habit. By the end of the day, the culture itself has eroded out. You walk into other places as a quality control person or as a quality assurance manager or as a food safety champion, and then you see people are like, that's a quality problem. Somebody will see water leaking where it's not supposed to leak, and then nobody will care about that. They say that's a safety problem. Somebody will look at a packaging material, maybe the cutting of the packaging material is not well, some information are missing, and then they don't take ownership of that. People feel like that's a quality problem. So when that happens, in most cases, you'll find the culture is very poor. The practice does not match what is documented on the system versus what is documented on paper. There's also inconsistency in leadership. That is one of the major one as well. So this week, because of the audit is going to happen, you'll find all of us in production pushing for people to clean, pushing for people to use PPEs, ensuring that something is always right just before the audit. And then the following week after the audit, everybody is celebrating that we've passed the audit. Nobody cares what is happening. So people are relaxing, people are sleeping. You find this kind of inconsistency, they turn out to be an habit. So we don't have to care about quality until there's an inspection happening. We don't have to mind about what is going to happen to our products until the outcome comes, or until there's somebody coming on site for certain inspections. That is very wrong. These things, over time, as you try to just bypass what is there on paper, most of the time it turns out to be an habit. You end up attracting a poor culture within yourself. With that said, I would want us to quickly look at some of the pillars or some of the guidelines that we can have to ensure that the culture is lasting. The slide before that, Kate, when you look at what we need to have in place, or the pillars that we're supposed to have in place to ensure that culture is lasting. Kate, there's a slide before that, sorry.
It is now moving.
Okay, I can maybe mention.
I'll stop this. I'll stop sharing using the full screen mode. I go back to how I was sharing before.
Yeah, it's okay. But as Kate is trying to work on the slide, so we have these, what I believe are the pillars of a lasting culture. When I'm talking of a lasting culture, of course, I mean a positive culture. As I've said, the most important one is leadership. So when you talk of leadership, then it has to be leadership that lives it, leadership that believes in what they're saying. You don't preach water and then you go taking wine. The second one, of course, I'll talk about everyone owning it, owning the culture. And then I'll talk of the systems that support the culture. Get your screen is disappearing as well. And then, of course, I'm going to mention the continuous learning that is going to support the cultures that we have in our workplaces. That is the food safety culture and the quality culture. So those are the four pillars that I from my own perspective, I feel that if they're implemented and followed well, they're going to support a lasting culture that is a positive culture that does not rely on what is on paper versus what is going to be seen. So when you're talking of these four pillars, like the first one I mentioned, a leadership, I package it as leadership that lives it. Kate, I don't know if you're still there.
Yes, I'm here.
The slides disappeared. All right. Yeah, those are the four pillars that I've mentioned. Leadership that lives it, everyone owning the culture, that is the quality culture or the food safety culture. And then I've mentioned systems that support the culture, and I've talked over continuous learning or learning that drives the culture. If you move to the next slide, Kate, so I'll be talking about the first one, that is the leadership that lives it. I like to say actions speak louder than policies. Actions speak louder than what we have on papers. You want people to have the right PPEs, then you have to show up in production like a leader who is in full PPEs. You want people to wash hands, then you have to show up in production like a leader and start washing up the hands. So when you're talking of leadership that lives the culture. This means we have a leader who does things the way they speak, who leads by following what the policies say. So you can achieve this by, when you're having meetings, be it a toolbox talk, a short meeting, be it a board management meeting, be it a change control meeting, the first topic should always be about quality. The first topic should always be about safety. In this way, people see that this is a very important topic that has to be discussed before anything else. Unfortunately, does that happen in our meetings? No, we don't do that. We always get there, and the first thing we have to throw stones. Person A did not come with this, person B is late, person C did not do this. But yeah, if we want to if we want to be visible leaders, if we want to ensure that culture is always positive and is lasting, then we have to take lead in mentioning safety and quality topics in every meeting. We need to do Gemba walks. By Gemba walks, I mean you leave your laptop where it is, where you leave your desk where it is, and you walk into production floor. Go there without a notebook. Go there without a phone. You need to make people feel like you're not there for an inspection. You need to make people feel like you're not there to take pictures of wrongs. You need to go there and ask questions, discuss with people. You also need to be, you need to know the approach of questions you ask. You don't go asking people, how is your day? You don't go asking people, how are you feeling today? You go asking people questions in a way that encourages them to speak up when it comes to quality and food safety issues. We talk of allocating budget. I can see a number of quality assurance managers here in different factories, but unfortunately, if you ask them what is their budget per annum for certain trainings or for quality trainings or for food safety trainings, people can't mention this. They don't even know what the budget is. It is not openly discussed. So you have to source for a certain training, chase people for approval for you to get a simple training that is going to impact the culture of a place. So it is very positive when you set aside, or when you visit these meetings, sit down, know the budget for a certain training, plan for the trainings in advance. Share stories of near misses. Most places, in most cases, I would ask a question. You walk into production, you find someone without an airnet. The first thing is always go get an airnet. The first thing is always maybe an action being taken. But do we ever take time to look at this as a near miss? To look at this person has long hair, they don't have an airnet. There's a possibility of cross-contamination. Do we use that as an example to discuss food safety matters or food or quality matters? No, we don't do that. So I feel for us to build a culture that is lasting, then we need to start by that. I will move to this next slide, Kate. That is ownership, everybody owning the culture, or everybody owning the food safety systems, everybody owning the quality management system. You move from just their responsibility to my responsibility. I said most of the culture fail in our manufacturing industries because everybody else feels that a quality function is a quality department issue. A quality issue is a quality department is a quality department's responsibility. So you ask people about why people are not washing hands, and then somebody will say we are not doing this because there's no QC seeing this, there's no quality assurance manager seeing this. So it feels like people are doing things because there's a quality department. People are doing things because the quality department says so. Nobody does things because they understand why they're doing it. So it's very important when people start understanding why they're doing things. This can be achieved if you empower people to know, tell them the why before telling them what to do. Make people understand that I need to change my PPEs because of this and this. Make sure people understand why I need to sanitize my hands after washing my hands. There are basic principles that we assume people know, but they don't know. People do that because they feel probably it is a requirement or a rule on a certain site. You need to include employees when developing SOPs. Most of these work instructions and SOPs are always drawn by managers sitting in different offices. People don't even understand how the process is. You look at a document and you feel like there's a process owner, but the process owner doesn't know the content of the work instruction. There's a team lead somewhere in production, and this team lead does not understand what is the content of our work instruction. So if you really need this person to own that document, then it means you need to make sure this person understands or is part of coming up with the procedures. Reporting, you need to make it as simple as possible. Don't make it hard for people to report. We need to understand that we work in an environment where we have different personalities, different people. People can write, people can read. So you need to make sure that you ensure that everybody is able to report. Be it a verbal way, are you an encouraging person? Are you an open person? Can people walk into your office and discuss this with you? So we need to ensure that for us to have a lasting culture within our working organizations, then we need to make sure that the reporting system is very well. And once reporting is done, do we give feedback back to the person who reported this, and do we do it visibly, or how do we do it? So it is very important to understand that you need to make work, you need to make the reporting system very important and very open and clear and very simple. If you move to the next slide, Kate, I would want to talk about the system that you have supporting the culture. Most of our systems don't support the cultures that we have. Hi, Kate. Can you guys hear me? Yes. So as I think Kate has an issue, as we wait for her to come up again, let's talk about, we mentioned the pillar number 3, that is a system that supports your culture. So for you to ensure that you have a lasting culture within your organization, then your systems must support the culture. When you're talking about the system supporting the culture, we mean make the right way, the easy way. Do the right thing from the start. Do the right thing from the start as during the hiring process. Most of us don't screen for the culture. We hire because we just want to hire. I look at most of the organization or the advertise that we have, the job adverts that we receive in our groups. These job adverts, they always need somebody with 5 years experience, 10 years experience. But maybe somebody has 10 years experience of leasing in a certain company. Somebody has 10 years experience of poor culture. And then you ignore somebody with 2 years experience somewhere, somebody who can do something. So let's talk about having a system that supports the culture. During the hiring process, we need to screen for better culture. Sit down with somebody, talk to them, understand why they're moving into organizations. Maybe somebody's even running from a negative culture and they're coming to build a positive culture where you are. Then we need to screen for this from the onset. We talk about training. You need to ensure that you have a continuous training. That is also a system that supports everything. Teach people why. Ensure that people understand where they're doing so many things other than them just understanding how to do things. It's very important that we incorporate this into a system that supports the culture. When we talk about other things like maybe having KPIs, I know most of us do have KPIs that helps us manage our organization's management systems. But what do the KPIs speak? Do they speak what is actually happening? Do they support the culture, or we are just doing the KPIs for the sake of compliance, which is very wrong? So when you're talking of KPIs, these key performance indicators, you're supposed to be tracking the leading indicators, not the lagging indicators. When I'm talking of leading indicators, I mean things that can help you prevent the lagging indicators. So I'm talking of things like having audits completed. Check the percentage of audits completed. When you complete many audits and you have many findings, it means you have indicators that can help you fix your culture in advance. We talk of things like taking steps with near misses. How many of us do approach a near miss as an issue that is supposed to, or an indicator that is supposed to guide us in correcting our systems or our cultures? So it's very important to incorporate KPIs that support the culture that we are trying to build. In this case, that is a positive quality culture and a positive health and safety culture. I talked of the 4th pillar. I'm trying to make the presentation as short as possible so that we can maybe move to questions and other things. The pillar number 4, I talked of a learning that drives the culture. When I talk of learning that drives the culture, I mean, sorry, I'm going to see if I can be able to share my slides now that Kate is off. Sorry, guys. I hope you can see my screen. Okay, so most of you are saying you can see my screen. I think I'll continue with it. So I've talked of all these 4 pillars that we had. The leadership, we've mentioned about being a positive leader. I've talked of owning the culture. I've talked of having the systems that support. Having the system that support your culture can be a very important thing. So we had the last one. That is, we are talking of learning that drives it. So when you're talking of learning does not mean just training. Learning does not mean attending classes and getting to understand what the culture is. Learning your culture means you don't go blaming people for things that happen. That's how you can fix the system. When you're investigating a certain occurrence, then you don't have to start by who did what. You don't have to look at who did a mistake. You don't have to look at who didn't wash their hands. You didn't have to look at which supervisor slept. You don't have to look at which QC did not verify the process. So the first thing you're supposed to do is try to understand your system. Where does your system fail? You need to understand what shortcomings you have in your systems that are leading to certain mistakes happening. That is the positive way of learning. So if you look at what is happening in your system that is leading to this failure, then it means you are able to pick a certain leading indicator that is going to guide you to where your system is failing or where your culture is not being positive. So it's always good to look at it. The first question should be what happened? Ask yourself what happened, and then move to why did it happen? When you're looking at why did it happen, the why should be related to the system. Which part of my system failed? What did we miss in the system? Did we pass information clearly? Did we communicate to the team that was responsible for this activity? So it was always good to have a system that we call just. You're not blaming anyone, but you're looking to fixing problems in our systems. I know this is very hard to do. Most of you can agree with me. Each time we are looking at, or each time we're doing inspections, you want to throw blemish to others. I totally understand this, because when there is a quality problem, nobody owns it and they want to throw it to a quality department. In as much as it's their mistake, it always comes back to the quality department. People feel like maybe a QC did not do something and maybe you've given them several warnings. So yeah, I understand that. But if we encourage that to happen, all right, I will go back to pillar 3. So when I'm talking of this is pillar 3, making the right way, the easy way. Making the right way, the easy way. By this, I was meaning the pillar 3 is simply about having a system that supports your culture. I said, when you're having the right system supporting your culture, means it is going to roll out in a positive way. So when you are hiring, do you screen for culture? Do you look at a person? Do you try to understand a person's attitude towards work? Do you look at understanding a person's belief towards work? That does not happen in most of our organizations. So most of us always want to see if somebody can do a certain work. Can somebody work in an off day? Can somebody come in a day they're supposed to be in church? Is somebody willing to work at night? Those are the things we look at, but we don't look at someone's attitude. We don't look at people's belief when it comes to food safety. So I talked of training. I said you need to have a system that teaches people why they're doing things and not how they're doing things and not what they're doing. So you don't just tell people to wash hands. You need to make people understand that if I don't wash my hands, then I'm going to cross-contaminate this place. That is a system that supports your culture. We talk of KPIs. I've talked of having you tracking leading indicators in terms of look at things that can help you fix the lagging indicators. By lagging indicators, I'm talking of things like non-compliance, I'm talking of other things. And then we talk of daily routines. Do we come together and have these talks? Do we meet and discuss quality issues? Do we come together before work or after work? So yeah, those are the things that can help you, or that is a system that can help you fix your culture. Then we talk of things like, I talk of pillar 4. And the pillar 4, I discussed about learning that supports the culture. And I said the best one is have a no blame or just culture. when somebody reports something, when a problem occurs, we need to look at a way of finding out what failed in the system and who failed, and not who failed in the system. So we need to look at, why did things happen? Did we have the right information? Did we communicate it right? Did we have the right personnel? And if we did not, why? So we need to get the root cause of a problem than just blaming people. Those are the 4 pillars that I feel, if they are followed well, we can be able to have a lasting culture. That's a positive culture. I would like to discuss out of that, maybe expound on the indicators. When we talk of measure what matters, those are the indicators. So you need to have a comparison between the leading indicators and the lagging indicators. And I've said, for you to be able to support your culture positively, then you need to focus on the leading indicators and not the lagging ones. By focusing on the lead indicators means you're blocking the failures and you're trying to fix your failures before lagging indicators come. So when I talk of these indicators, I'm talking of things like the quality observation completed. Yes, we do inspections. Yes, we check the checklist for different things. But do we act on what we pick from those things? Then we talk of things like having near misses reported. Yes, near misses are being reported. Somebody comes to your office and tells you people are not washing hands as they used to. People are not having their PPAs in production. And instead of treating that as a near miss to food poisoning or to maybe cross-contamination or something, we are very fast on taking action towards those people. You want to take disciplinary action towards such a person. So we fail to pick that as a near miss and use it as a training tool. We talk of training completion rates. Yes, we organize a lot of our trainings. And if I check, most of what we do is you plan for maybe a food safety training and you had 10 people attending and 2 people attend. On most of our rates, we will say the training is achieved. The training was done. But look at the percentage of the people who attend the training. Did that complete well? That tells you we have a problem in that. So you have to use that as a leading indicator to fix problems that might arise from lack of training. Then look at the employee survey scores and cultures. So you go asking people questions. You want people to tell you what they think about food safety culture. You want people to tell you about what they think, what they see. Is it practical? Is the system working? People give you responses and then there's no feedback. That is a very wrong direction to go. It kills the culture. When I said don't focus on the lagging indicators that much, I didn't mean you ignore them fully, but I said you must focus on the leading indicators to prevent the lagging ones. So we have things like customer complaints. Customer cannot complain if you give them products of the right quality. If you don't allow food that have food safety issues into the market, customers will not complain. Talk of things like audit, non-conformances. People come and audit and then they give you non-conformances. If you do the right thing from the start, then the non-conformances are not there. And if they are there, then they are minor. So you don't have to wait for non-conformances to come up before you start acting on your culture. Those are the things that we discuss on, or what I mean by measure what is right or measure what matters. So the ultimate cause, the ultimate reason of us being here today is, of course, building a positive culture that lasts. But how do we get there? We have to shift our mentality from compliance. We need to do things not because we need to be compliant to certain regulations or we need to be compliant to certain food safety regulations or ISO standards. We need to start doing things because we understand why we are doing it. That's where commitment comes in. So I'm committed to producing food that are of good quality. I say that on my paper, I say that on my policies, but do I actually practice that? So we need to also see commitment. It starts from us as the food safety champions, as the food professionals of this place. So we need to be committed to what we're doing. And then at the end of the day, we can be able to achieve a culture that is very positive. So if your commitments are very negative, that means your culture is going to be very negative. You can say food safety and quality is now stable when it becomes automatic. People don't have to be reminded to wash hands. People don't have to be reminded to have the right PPEs. People don't have to be reminded on the need of having hygiene standard observed in production areas or in anywhere else. When that becomes an automatic thing, then it means our culture is very positive. The quality is very okay. The safety is very okay. Then you talk of it becomes correct when it is shared. Nobody feels like this is a QC task. Nobody feels like this is a production manager's task. it is everybody's job. People say that safety starts with me, but we need to see it in action. And then talk of from your principles or from what you do, it's a non-negotiable things. You cannot go into production without having your PPEs on. It's what we believe in. Then that we can say the food safety and the quality culture actually lasts. I come to the end of my session. I don't know if Kate is back.
I'll be taking over.
Okay, Jim Kelly, I think you maybe introduce yourself then and take over from there. But I hope you understand all this training or all of this what I've tried to discuss here is that there is a positive culture and there is a negative culture. The goal of us being in any organization as the food safety champions or as the quality champions is to ensure that the culture is very positive. Everything we are doing is very positive, and we are influencing the rest, everybody within the place, to own all the processes that we have or all the systems that we have. Without a positive culture, then we have a system that has failed and that is not working. Yeah, I think I'll stop sharing my screen so that Jim Kelly can lead us on the next step.
Thank you so much, Amos. We really appreciate. And first of all, we want to thank you. I know it was a short notice that we had to reach you to be our guest, and we really don't take it for granted. And we have seen through the studies or through the webinar that indeed sometimes we can have strong systems. But what about our culture? What is the attitude towards the culture that we have? We have also seen that leadership matters when it comes to culture, and even how we interact with those whom we work with across the floor. That it's important to create a positive culture. So it's time to answer some question. We have some question for you, Amos. And in case we have anyone with any other question, you can just drop it at the chat box. Let me open it. Amos. So Elias Omondi,
Yes.
kindly you may go to pillar number 3 as well.
I did that. It was in between the train. I went back.
Okay. So anyone with a question, you can unmute or type it. Anyone with a question?
I don't know, Jim Kelly, if you can access questions that Kate had that had already been asked on the registration process. I'm not sure. But anybody who has a question can quickly ask. We can chat. We can talk about it.
So the first question was?
Yes.
Hi, Jim. Kindly check what he has not covered is what you asked.
Okay, welcome. I think you can just take over, Kate. I'll just ask this question, then you take over.
She's back.
Amos.
Yes.
How can organizations?
Yes.
It's a question. Okay. How can organizations sustain a quality culture, during staff turnover growth or
I've managed to come here, but hey, you guys will pay me. I wish you knew where I'm seated. You don't want to take over? Just take over.
Kate.
I think she's preparing to get on. Jim Kelly, you had a question.
It says, how can organizations sustain a culture?
I'm saying, just to continue.
Staff turnover. Okay, Kate. So Amos, sorry about that. So how can organizations sustain a quality culture during staff turnover growth or operational crisis? And I think this is mostly during December. I think you have seen a poster going around that it's time to receive complaints and they're coming in bulk, in large quantities during this January. So how can we sustain a positive culture more so during this December holidays?
if I get your question correctly, Jim Kelly, is you want to understand how we can sustain a positive culture with new people coming into our culture.
Yes.
Yes, like I said, I believe in one of our slides we've discussed about having systems that support the culture. If you have systems that support the culture, then we remain within the guidelines. You don't have just the systems on paper, but you actually practice it. For instance, maybe having more staff coming in. Do you ensure the right measures are followed? Do you ensure the right protocols are followed in terms of training? And when you're talking of training, do you just have people coming and sitting in an informal class and just receiving, going through slides, going through work instructions, or do you have people actually trained on maybe an induction of food safety induction and then shadowing them behind experienced employees? So the right thing to do is, yeah, it's a challenge when most of the people are coming at once. Maybe you have a bulk of people joining a certain department, and these people have maybe a corroded culture or a negative thinking about things, how things should be done. It becomes a challenge. But like I said, those 4 pillars still apply here. The first thing is leadership. You as the person inducting this new employee, how do you behave? How do you guide them? Do you tell people to wear PPEs and you're not in your own PPEs? Do you set rules that yourself you're not following? People learn from what you're doing. One thing I like about new employees is as they step into organization, they're always scared of losing the job. They just want to learn and be the best. It's the first time they're trying to do these things. So if you show them in the right way, you lead by example, then people do follow this. During the employment period, I understand you need people to come in, but do you do the screening? Do you screen for culture? Do you try to understand someone's personality before assuming 10 years matter? Do you understand where this person comes from? Do you try to check how they talk, how they communicate, how do they present themselves before you allow somebody into your departments? So I think, yes, it's a challenge, but people, for you to do this, then you have to be very careful, be the right leader, as well as do the screening, do the trainings right. By training, you don't just sit somebody in a classroom or in a boardroom and just tell them, these are the work instructions we have. Yes, do the induction, take them through your processes, take them through the guidelines that you have, but still, this person goes to production area, this person goes to the lab, this person goes to maintenance. Attach this person or shadow this person behind a qualified person or an experienced person so that they learn from them directly. I don't know, Jim, if your question is well answered, but I need to
Yeah,
clear.
it's answered.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's well answered. Anyone else with a question, kindly unmute and ask your question as I go to the second question. Anyone? Okay, let me ask this. The second question, Amos.
Yes, I almost
Uh,
completed.
I've realized that in some organizations, one of the things that contribute to the negative culture is fear.
Yes.
Fear. And probably what are the steps that we can apply, or what are some of the things we can do and undo to ensure that workers don't work in fear?
Right. Kelly, that's a very good observation. And I think it does not apply to only one organization. Actually, it is in every organization, only at different angles. This is the reason you will see a quality assurance manager walking into a certain section and everybody is running. Everybody starts shying off. You realize, or you need to understand that you've instilled fear in people if you walk into a certain group of people and they are talking and they keep quiet. That is not a good culture. That is a very negative culture. So like I've said, let's start by simple things. In one of my slides, I've measured having a Gamba walk. You're moving into production or you're going into a certain working area. And on your hands, you're carrying a notebook. On your hands, you're having a phone. What rushes into people's mind? The first thing is, this person is here with the book because they need to do an inspection. They need to document few things about me. So that person grows in fear. If they have any problem about food safety, if they have any problem about quality, they can hardly tell you that. You go into production with a phone. Everybody is assuming you want to take pictures of them. You want to keep evidence of the negative things they're doing. So if you do this, people are working in fear. And like I said, we also need to look at like I said, we also need to look at how we approach most of the investigations that we do. Yes, quality has failed. A product has gone to the market. We have a massive recall. And instead of going to or trying to find out what happened with the system, did it happen within the organization? Did we fail in the supply to the market? Did we fail in receiving of raw materials? We only focus on who did what, who was on shift, what did they do. You even realize most of the big people, that is the production manager, the quality assurance manager, the managing director, we are all running to the CCTVs just to check if people really washed their hands that day. So you realize somebody is scrolling through the screen back for around 9 months trying to check if that person did wash hands or not. So it is a very wrong culture when you're trying to investigate something wrong and you're instilling fear in someone. Another way you can make people not to work in fear is give feedback. That is something we really fail on. So you'll walk into a certain section and people will tell you, we have an issue in this. Our safety shoes are maybe of the wrong size. We don't have enough sanitizers on this shift. Maybe the hand washing sink is very far. And instead of listening to that and maybe taking action on that, you just tell them, okay, I've noted that. And then we move to 2 years or 3 years without that being done. It's always good to listen to people and then give feedback almost immediately. Somebody tells you something, I don't have a certain PPE, go make sure that it's there. And when you're doing that, make sure you do it visibly. Make sure that each and every person in that department sees that feedback. In that way, people will always feel free with you. People will always be open in saying things. In a nutshell, I'm saying it's very good to create trust within your system. Make sure that people trust you. And then I think another one is we should not be so proud of our titles. So you'll get somebody just because you have the title by your name, a quality assurance manager or a production manager or whatever you'd want to call yourself. So you want to walk into production and make people feel that you are that. No, that is wrong. There are so many ways of getting people to respect you. There are so many ways of people getting to understand the authority you have without scaring them off. Yeah.
Thank you, Amos.
We can do that. I hope in Kelly I'm clear, and I need to discuss something more.
Thank you. Very clear. The other question, is it bad to check CCTVs to get to understand what might have happened?
No.
Oh, Jesus. In case there's an issue probably within the production line and they need to check the CCTV, is it correct or it instills fear?
There's a reason why we have CCTVs in productions. There's a reason why we have CCTVs everywhere, basically for reasons, maybe food fraud or food defense. There's reasons why we have those CCTVs. I can say it is not wrong to check a CCTV, but what is the reason or what is the mentality behind whoever is checking that CCTV? Are you checking to see if somebody did something wrong, or are you checking to see if somebody did not understand the procedure of what they were doing? So yes, you have a maintenance person coming to work on a certain machine today. They did not wash a hand. They did not wash their hands. What are you going to raise an issue with? That person not washing their hands, or people getting into production without washing their hands? So the most important thing you need to understand is, why did somebody do that? Not going behind how the person did it. So it is not wrong to check CCTVs. It is a very positive thing to check CCTVs. But we should not make people working in that room feel like CCTVs are there to police them up. I don't know if that is now clear.
Thank you, Amos. Anyone? We have the last question, but before that, anyone?
Hi, Jim.
Yes, Sylvia.
Hi, Amos.
Hi, Sylvia. I think I recognize this voice.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, Sylvia.
Let's say you have just gone to an organization where people are used to doing things a certain way. Now that's their culture. But now when you're coming in and you want now to bring in the food safety and quality culture, it's a bit hard for them to adjust. But you see, since you guys want to grow, you want to instill the culture in them, which is a bit new to them. So like you want the people there to adapt to the culture you are bringing in. That is in terms of adhering to a few things when it comes to food safety and quality, and it's hard for them. So every time ni kama kuwakumbusha, so it becomes a bit hard. I don't know, kuna trainings and all that, but they keep going back to their old culture. How are you supposed to go about that?
That's a very good question, Sylvia. I'm very sure every one of us can relate to that if you have worked in a quality department. Yes, it's a challenge that we face, but there's a reason we pride in being the food safety champions, or there's a reason why we pride in being part of the professional groups we are. There's a reason why we wake up every single morning. There's a reason why that department exists. Like I said, culture, you're never born with it. Culture is something you learn. Culture is something that grows. There are so many ways of getting people to adapt into your culture or change into your culture. So the 4 pillars that I've discussed, depending on the capacity that you are in, it's always good to do the right thing even when nobody is watching. So you don't have to care about who's seeing what you're doing. You don't have to care about the impact you have on it. Just do the right thing. People start picking it in the right way. Sometimes I realized the major problem is you're walking into a department that has older people or experienced people. Let me use that term, experienced people. Somebody has worked there for like 10 years and you're coming there with your 2 months and you're a fresh graduate and you feel like something is being done wrong and you want to correct them. Of course, you'll always get a backlash. People want to kill you for that. People don't want to listen to you. But then how do you do it? Like I said, make people understand why they're doing it. Don't go in a way that is wrong. No, go tell people we need to do this way. I understand why you're doing this. Maybe it's what you're used to, but what do you think if we do this thing this way? People are washing their hands, but they're not washing them effectively. You don't go telling people you don't wash your hands. No, you go telling people you're doing the right thing, but what if we do this way? Sometimes it's tough. You need to invite people in capacity to as well support you in doing this. So how do you engage the top management staff? How do you engage the department heads in supporting you? So before you go trying to correct each and every person, maybe let's say in production flow, then you have to start with the leadership of production flow. It's always effective when it comes up down, if it goes that way. But the most important one is when it grows sideways. What are the people within there doing? You as a person, are you impacting the people around you? If you do that and you do it over time, people start changing slowly because they're seeing what you're doing, not because you're forcing things onto them. But yes, I admit that is a problem we are all facing, unless I'm like Jim Kelly. Sylvia, I don't know if you answered.
Yeah, I'm here. That's helpful. Yeah, I think it takes time. I think that is the word. It can't just happen just hivyo venye unataka at a snap of a finger. So I think it takes time. So maybe sisi watu wa quality tumeambiwa tuzoe patience.
Yeah, it is there, but I think we need to understand as well. If you look at the dynamics of our country, most of these things, it's now that you are trying to grow. Yes, they used to be there, but on paper, it's now people are trying to understand why things are happening. So we can hardly rush a single organization into a certain change, yet the whole country does not believe in what is happening. So yes, it takes a lot, awareness creation, trainings. Of course, sometimes it has to go as hard as putting rules down, but then the best way is always letting people understand why they're doing things. It's like trying to explain to people, to a person who has never stepped in a food science class, what a food science degree is. They always think about something else. So yes, it's the same principle. Over time, and I'm praying that we're getting there, because I look at everybody and most of us are just young in this field, but I hope we have a positive impact, or we make a positive impact where we work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amos. We have 2 questions. From Joy Adhiambo. If you had to advise quality team to focus on a behavior on the production floor, Amos, can you see the question?
Let me go to the comment section. Maybe let me check the questions now. If you had to advise quality team, is that the question, Jim Kelly?
Yes.
If you had to advise quality team to focus on a behavior on the production floor to strengthen food safety culture, what would it be? If you had to advise quality team to focus on a behavior on the production floor to strengthen food safety culture, what would it be? That's a very interesting question, Joy, and a very tricky one. Culture is basically, when you're mentioning behavior, you're totally talking of the whole culture. But if I was to advise a quality team to focus on a behavior in quality, to focus on a behavior in production, mostly it will be talk of communication. Actually, talk of communication, because most of the production people, they just want to hide what they're seeing. Maybe because they're in a rush to finish things, maybe they're in a rush to, or they're under pressure to achieve other targets, or they're doing a lot of things. I'll talk of communication. In communication, I mean, how do you approach them when you want them to change a certain behavior? And how do you respond to their feedback? I mean, how do you give them feedback on that? Sometimes they see you, they're running, and that is the mistake that we make. That is where culture ends up to being a quality department responsibility, or food safety thing ends up to being a quality department responsibility. It would be very good if we work together. So instead of focusing on their behavior, Joy, why don't we focusing on our behavior, making it a responsibility between me as a quality person and somebody from production as a production person? Why don't we work towards a common goal? So I would say how we communicate to each other, how we relate, and do we make ourselves feel like colleagues, or do we make ourselves feel like people with a common goal, or we just behave like we are people from different departments? I don't know if I'm answering your question right, Joy. If you can maybe tell us, I'll be happy to clarify. Hi, Joy.
Yeah, thank
It's
you,
okay, but I
Amos.
hope you answered. Maybe you can type if you're not well answered, then we can see.
Yeah, also you can, I'll share Amos' contact. You can contact him after the meeting in case you want deeper insights. So we have the last question, Amos. Probably you can read it through from Deborah Chepkemoi.
In operations located within marginalized communities, we sometimes encounter deeply rooted cultures norms that unintentionally conflict with hygiene, sanitation, and quality requirements. Where conventional supervision and training fail to change behavior, what practical respective strategies can leaders use to embed sustainable quality culture without stigmatizing the community or causing resistance? That's a very good question, Deborah. I think I will go back to one of our slides still, where I talked of a learning culture or a training culture that supports, a learning system that supports the culture. You want people to do things. The most important thing and the most respectful thing is admitting what they're doing, learning why they're doing what they're doing, and then getting slowly into it, make people understand where you want them to do things. I can't give a particular example of a cultural norm that does not support food safety, but I know there are things that we do in our societies that really don't align with the food safety thing. I'll give an example. When we are washing hands in some of our communities, especially the side where we come from, people want to wash hands in the same basin, and you're always talking about washing your hands in running water. And when you tell people it is wrong, people will say it's a unity thing. So how do you get them to change this? Explain it to them. You can even touch soil. Dip your hands in that water, let the water change the color, then tell them microorganisms are not visible. When we are washing our hands in the same pool, this is what we are doing, dissolving microorganisms in this. So the next person will not be cleaning their hands, but collecting dirt. So I think it's always good to make sure people understand why they are doing things. You admit, first of all, you listen to why they're doing things, understand them from their cultural point or from their views or from their beliefs, and then look at it. Is it something you can change? The main goal, of course, is to change the culture. So yes, you start understanding and explaining to them to understand why you need them to do things and not how they should do it. So don't tell people directly, wash your hands. You need to tell people why they're washing their hands and why they need to wash their hands when they're doing A, B, C, D, so that people understand. I'm not sure if Deborah, I've answered you, but yeah, there are so many ways you can do this. But the most important thing for you to enable somebody who's rooted to their culture to change their norms or to change their behaviors is, first of all, acknowledge what they have, understand why they have it, and then explain to them why you need to do something or why they need to do something, and then go to a process of showing them how they're going to do it. Deborah, I don't know if you can talk. I don't know if you answered.
Yeah, thank you. That is so well put.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Amos. I think we have come to the end of our presentation for today. I'm just sharing Amos' contact through the group. Just a minute. You can reach to Amos through the number below. For consultation, matters, training, he will handle that. So I want to appreciate us all for taking your time. And there is that team that joined while they were, I think walikuwa kwa matatu. Manze, simbarikiwe sana. So
Jim,
I
there's
want
a
a few of us
question
to
from
thank you.
Naruki.
Jim Kelly, I'm seeing Vincent's hand is up.
Okay, Vincent. Kate.
Yes.
I think we are through. Probably I wanted a few to say hi.
Let Vincent talk first.
Okay. Then you take over immediately.
Okay, mmemaliza everything.
Yes, everything.
How
Unless
come?
you had a question, Kate.
You
Never
know, right
answered
now I
all
don't
the
even know
questions.
now what was asked, what was not asked. So I
You,
can't ask anything.
you ask your own question, we will answer it.
Mm. Okay, Vincent, do you want to go first? Or I
Yes,
ask you?
I wanted to tell Joy something because I there is something maybe Joy didn't understand from Amos. And
Okay.
so I wanted to give her an example of something that happened sometimes back when I was somewhere. But it's within the police line. So at some point, something was created somewhere, but it was not functional. And so it happened, an animal crossed over that thing. And so they decided they will have to deploy 2 police officers to always guard that thing. But now that thing didn't function. And so sometimes back, someone else was transferred to that station. And they asked, why do we always have these police officers stationed here while there is nothing that is happening here? Joy, that is the culture. Okay, the guys responded, we were always told that we are supposed to guard this place. Something happened sometimes back. In real sense, I'm trying to mean the culture that we meet at some point is very hard to change unless we need to understand the background of that thing. So at some point, some people may not even tell you what happened and the reason as to why we are using this culture. Joy, I think maybe I'm clear or sijui kama umenielewa vizuri. Amos, I'm done.
Yeah, thanks, Vincent, for that highlight. I think it also touches on Deborah's notion. So before, as you're walking into somewhere, you need to understand why things are being done, why they're doing it. If you want to change it, you change it from the angle of view.
Okay, Consolata is asking. Hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
Okay, Consolata says, how do we deal with a company that has a culture of compromising quality? How do I start incorporating these cultures as an employee who recently joined? Wasn't this answered?
It's more of what Sylvia asked. But yeah, we can still maybe talk of it. It's the same. When you're talking of a company that has a culture of compromising quality, in all honesty, I've seen many systems that are being compromised other than the quality. Most people believe in quality than they believe in food safety itself. If you look at other systems like maybe the environmental management systems and the health and safety management system, these are mostly abused. So when you're talking of how do you deal with a company that compromises quality, of course, I've said you start by being the right leader. You don't have to follow what people are doing because they're doing it. Just do the right thing, even when nobody is just watching you out. Do it right, and then start by impacting one person at least. If 2 or 3 people start doing the same thing, then it means in the long run, most of the people are going to join you in that, and then it's going to become a culture and it's going to become a norm that we need to do this thing in the right way. I'm not sure if Consolata you well answered or you asked your question after Sylvia, but maybe you can ask it or you can ask for clarity after that.
Thank you so much, Amos. Regina has dropped a famous saying, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Exactly,
Very
because
important, yeah.
you can write the best policies, you can even build the most sophisticated systems, you can set ambitious goals. But at the end of the day, if your people don't believe in, live, or reinforce those values, the strategy will definitely fail. All right? And I hope, as we've learned today, in food safety, actually, you're not supposed to be a fearful person. Because your job is a calling, just the same way being a doctor is a calling, your job as a food safety or food quality officer is a calling. We are the people who are supposed to stand up to our bosses, stand our ground and tell them, no, I'm not releasing this consignment because it did not meet the specified standards. And there's an initiative I launched last year called Food Integrity Africa Initiative for all those people who want to stand for food safety in the African continent. I called for volunteers. Some people joined, some people did not. So if you want to volunteer and also join the initiative when you roll out this year, you are welcome. We'll be doing a lot. But all I can say is let's stand for food safety. Let's not be fearful. Yes? And Amos, thank you so much. Thank you, Jim, for stepping in. Sorry, guys, I lost my Wi-Fi. And then my internet was shaky. I actually had to go outside, sit so that I can attend this. But we thank God Jane Kelly came in handy and Momanyi definitely delivered. And everybody who attended, we thank you once again. Yes. Until the next time, if you want us to host a specific session, let us know. If you want to be a speaker, you can also let us know. Bye, guys.
Kate?
Yes?
Before everybody goes, there's something that I honestly will be doing wrong if I drop off without mentioning. Most of the people
Momanyi, yes, okay.
Most of the people assume because your organization is ISO certified, you are good to go. You're doing it. It's good to understand that certifications don't make your culture positive. Certification doesn't mean you do the right thing. There's a reason you look at, if you look at the quality management system, that is the ISO 9001, it doesn't talk of culture as a text. But the way it is designed to support the quality culture itself. That is the reason they end up coming with other standards to support the culture. Standards like the ISO 118 talks of culture engagement. I know most of the people have not gone through this, but you need to check it out. It supports all those ISO standards that you have. Talks of, look at things like maybe the ISO 37001 talks of integrity when it comes to culture. There's a reason we have those standards. So being ISO certified or being ISO 22000 certified, being ISO 9001 certified does not mean you're doing the right thing. Please be positive.
Yes, thank you so much, Momanyi. And let's take that thought back to our teams, our flaws, and our decisions.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.